officially fall in other places around the world. I live in the Philippines and sadly we do not have that season, but if we did, I can definitely see myself in a park bench while the leaves are falling, reading at least one of these books. And even if you're like me and lives in a country with only like 1 to 2 seasons, these books will definitely give you that fall vibe. I categorize them by like everything that like fall has to offer, so I have a few cozy recommendations, dark fantasy and thrillers for the spooky side of fall. If you want to see more book content, I have a few more videos on my channel and I post a lot on my socials, so definitely check me out there. Let's just get started with the recommendations. The first book we have is Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. Just by the cover, it already screams fall, screams Halloween. This is about a trans boy. His name's Yadriel. His family lives in a cemetery. He's already come out to them, but they have a hard time believing that he is a real brujo. Brujo is the male version of bruja, which is a witch. So I'm guessing he's what you call a sorcerer in English. So what he does is summon a ghost of a past family member. That goes terribly wrong, and instead he gets Julian Diaz, the school bad boy, who won't rest until his murder case is solved. Yadiel has no choice but to help him out, and along the way there's a few feelings here and there, a lot of funny moments, and it's just about friendship, a murder mystery that involves witches and ghosts. Just an overall cozy read. Okay, so the next book is November 9 by Colleen Hoover. I was hesitant to put this in cozy because it's Colleen Hoover, it's obviously an emotional ride, but it didn't fit in any of the other categories, so I had no choice but to put it here. It's definitely a book that you can read in one sitting, so I guess you can be cozy but a little bit stressed. This follows a girl named Fallon and a boy named Ben. They meet the day that Fallon is going to leave to New York, and they end up having the best day ever. There's obviously a connection, but they can't do anything because Fallon is leaving that night. Ben ends up sharing that he's an author who is struggling to write a romance novel. So Fallon and him make a pact that every year on November 9th they're going to meet, but throughout the year have zero contact. So up until November 9, they have zero communication, don't check each other on social media, no idea what is going on in the other person's life. And they're going to be doing this for 5 years, and Ben is supposed to write an epic book about this whole experience. And it's set on November 9, which is during fall. That's why I added this book. Colleen Hoover never fails to make you feel something, so definitely check it out. The next book is a bit cheesy, but I just had to include it. It is Twilight, specifically New Moon. If you've watched the movies, which I'm sure you have, this is the one where Edward breaks up with Bella and you see her depressed for months. This book, however, goes in detail specifically with what Edward went through and like his POV, because in the movie it's just like all about her and Jacob, which Jacob in this book, by the way, is wow. This book did a really good job in making me question if I'm actually team Jacob. If you haven't read the books but you love the movies, please read the books. You're missing out on so much. Okay, so now we're going into the category of dark fantasy, dark magic. I don't know, but like fall just reminds me of magic and fantasy. The first one I've already talked about in my Reading Sad TikTok book, so if you want to watch that video, linked in the description. It is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. So this took place in 1714 France, where the role of women is to just be wives. A girl named Addie LaRue was about to be wed, and out of desperation, she prayed to a god after dark, which means she made a deal with the devil to get away from this life that was already handed to her. So that's why 300 years later, no one remembers her. She talks to someone and they instantly forget her until she walks into a bookstore and meets a boy named Henry, and he happens to remember her. Also, I just had to include this in the list because the writing is absolutely breathtaking. It's so beautiful, and if you're reading it in beautiful weather, beautiful scenery, it's just perfect. Okay, so the next book we have is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I don't even know where to start with this book. Stories of individual characters that all intertwine, but it's a beautiful, beautiful masterpiece. There's a circus that mysteriously shows up, and it is whimsical and extravagant. It's just something that cannot be achieved without magic, and that's because few of the performers inside the circus do have magic. But the main story is about a boy and a girl who were brought up as contestants in a game game that they know nothing about. The people who took care of them like to play this game every so often, where a winner is decided once the other opponent is dead. So growing up, they were just training non-stop and developing their powers. They're up against each other, and one of them has to die in order to win the game. It is a love story. You can just see like how interesting and complex the story is. Every single character has a different story and revolves around the game that they have created. I would say that what makes this book so magical is the circus and how well the author described it and wrote about it, that at some point, honestly, I could taste and smell the popcorn and all the treats that were mentioned in the circus. Anyways, I'm already reviewing the book. It's a wonderful book. I loved it, so definitely check it out. It wouldn't be fall if I didn't include dark academia. So the first book is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. This is about a girl named Alex Stern who is the only survivor of a horrific unsolved crime. She ends up getting a scholarship to Yale, not because she's crazy smart or anything. Yale has secret societies that are very interested and find her talent rather useful. At a young age, she could already see greys, which are ghosts. So because of her talent, she is basically a misfit, but she starts going to Yale, learns more and more about the 9 secret societies. Also through her mentor, his name is Darlington, but he suddenly disappears when a girl is murdered on campus. So she is determined to solve this mystery. It's a murder mystery that involves magic systems. Also, my poor cat is like meowing outside. Should I get her? The next dark academia book is The Atlas Six by Olivia Blake. This book is inspired by the Library of Alexandria, a very important historical library that ended up getting burned. But in this reality, it was claimed that the library was burned on purpose and is currently being protected by magical beings. Okay, so the story starts out with 6 candidates who are recruited by the mysterious Atlas Blakely. Each of these 6 individuals are also magical beings. I know 3 of them manipulate like physicality. The rest is, I believe, an illusionist, one that can read minds, and the other one is called an empath. So they all have different capabilities, but only 5 will be initiated and 1 will be eliminated. Also, can we just look at the characters for a second? Here they are. So if you're not convinced to read this book based on how they look, I don't trust you. Okay, so we're at the last category, which is thriller. So the first one is Verity by Colleen Hoover again. This is about a small writer who finally gets her breakthrough by getting another author's job, sort of. This popular author, her name's Verity, she got into a car accident which left her unable to finish her suspense novel. This is where the smaller author comes in. Her name is Lowen. So she goes to where Verity lives, going through her stuff, trying to figure out how to finish this suspense novel. But while going through her things and learning about her past, she comes across unpublished manuscripts and finds out something that is incredibly dark, all while Verity is upstairs, unresponsive, and she also starts to fall in love with Verity's husband. She said, "Hi." Anyway, she's in a situation where she literally sat right next to the camera. So Lowen is sort of stuck between whether or not the husband deserves to know this dark secret. There's a huge plot twist. It's Colleen Hoover. Perfect thriller for the spooky season. Okay, we have the last book and it's like already nighttime, which is perfect actually for the theme of the last one. This is Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. Did I say that right? Actually, let's search it.
Alex Michaelides.
Okay, nice. This is about a famous painter. Her name is Alicia Berenson. She lives in a big mansion. She's married to a famous fashion photographer. You know, like her life is picture perfect according to the media. But one day she ends up shooting her husband and just stop stalking. Of course, this blows up in the media because everybody thought her life was perfect. So that's how it catches the attention of Theo, who is a criminal psychotherapist. He is determined to make Alicia speak and figure out why the hell she murdered her husband. That's pretty much it. The plot twist is crazy. Those are all the books that I recommend reading this fall. I hope you at least found one book that you are interested in reading. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, comment your thoughts. Bye!